Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Random Pick. Before going any further into this video, I would like to thank all of you guys who are watching me and supporting this journey by subscribing and liking what I do. As simple as it sounds, it is very important for me to receive a feedback from you. So please go ahead, I would love to read your thoughts in the comment section down below. Back to today's episode, I'm excited to introduce you to this lovely book titled The Eyes, The Ears by Japanese photographer Rinko Kawauchi, printed in 2005 by Foil. Kawauchi is a very prolific artist who has published plenty of great books during her career as a fine art photographer and still does. Her style and practice, characterized by the use of natural light, cropping and transparent colors, focuses on the small mysteries of everyday life. Those small little things, hardly noticeable for most of us, but still full of significance and hidden beauty that deserve closer attention.
The main characteristic of this book lies between the perfect accordance between photos and text. Throughout the book, photos are presented along with short poems, called haiku in the Japanese culture and wrote by the author herself. Those poems create a thin, delicate narrative that leads us through the images as gently as a butterfly's flutter on an afternoon of spring. The book, as we can see from the title and the cover, is dedicated to the senses, and it is an invitation to the reader to forget all the preconception he has about the world and start feeling it as deep as he can. Influenced by the Shinto ideology and precepts, where everything is permeated by the same spirit, from the animated things to the mere stone, her work focuses on the poetic forces hidden behind the ephemeral and the ordinary things, such as scraps, insects, children's life, and animals. Her narrative style is never clear, but always open to interpretation and ready to be filled in by the reader's emotions and experiences. The main three colors of this book are the blue of the spirit, the pink of the flesh, and the yellow of the emotions. The location of this book is somewhere in between the private space of emotions and the public one of the city, considered as much full of spirit as nature is.
Among some of the haiku we found in the book, this one, positioned somewhere at the beginning, does very well set the mood and attitude of the work. The poem is accompanied by this beautiful picture of a pole sticking out of the ground, where the wrinkled surface has suffered the heat of the sun and remained a helplessness victim of the circumstances. The haiku says, "You know, the things you don't want to do, you don't have to do, after all." These few and not very astonishing words tell us something we already know, but very easily forget. Moving on to this other poem, we quite don't understand what's happening in this picture. At first, we feel like we are floating in the outer space, orbiting around the sun, into a sort of iris blue made bubble that cradles us through the eternities of time. The poem on the left says, "Chasing after it, I came to a place I never knew, but it is where I've always wanted to go. There is everything, there is nothing. All I wanted to watch was a beautiful butterfly fluttering around. That's why I knew that was not the place yet. Now this place shapes up a little more, like the place I never knew but I've always wanted to go." Turning to the next page, everything makes more sense. What at first looked like the universe, it might instead be a very close-up of this gorgeous blue butterfly. Here the author invites us to relax, feel and follow our instincts without much worrying where and how far away from our destination this journey is ending up taking us. By doing so, we might end up in a place we didn't plan to, but then finally find out that was actually the place we were most desperate to arrive.
Moving on to one of my favorite pictures of this book, we find ourselves at a dinner table, where every detail is so rich that creates a world in itself. We could crop every single piece of this image and still create meaningful scenes. The greens, gold and reds of the leftover food on this table are so well balanced that it feels like a great hyper-realistic artist has painted them perfectly. The fragility of these empty glasses next to the dirty dishes with seashells, chopsticks and precious-looking forks around creates an atmosphere of delightful time spent in good company. as well as emanating melancholy and sadness feelings of abandonment. Little we know about the people who attended this meal and the reason behind the meeting. Nonetheless, the feelings that something has been accomplished around this table is so powerful that we feel euphoria and inebriation of this moment penetrating ourselves through the eyes. In this spread, a picture of raw meat is presented right next to the one of this group of people who looks like they are having some sort of party or celebration, dancing and drinking and just being in the moment. Again, the narrative is very open and we can't really say what is happening. Surely they're all meant to be there, like the haiku say, perfectly in balance, and soon they will be broken, like pieces of meat on the counter of universe. As the author believes and tries to tell us, everything is permeated by the same energy and spirit. Everything originates from one and everything will come back to the one same source of energy or spirit, as we might call it, meaning that we are all part of the same mystery of life. It can be a living creature as well as dead flesh. A mix of medium, formats and techniques shapes up the mood of this work. In this spread, like in some others along with the book, the author doesn't even bother to edit or crop. Instead, she shows us the scene of flying airplanes straight from the contact sheet. For those of you who already know Kawauchi's work, it's easy to see how obsessed she is with flying birds and how sublime those images look. When I first saw this contact sheet, I couldn't stop to feel the same amazement I felt when looking at those other images of birds. This airplane flying over a crystal blue sky felt so alive to me and so animated, I wouldn't be surprised if it would suddenly fly away, flapping its wings. This last picture perfectly represents the worries of feeling lost as well as the happiness of having someone who cares about us, who we can look at straight into their eyes and feel glad they are there, right next to our souls. It surely is one of the best pictures you can find in this book. From the colors to the tones and the balance of the composition, everything is perfectly on point. Our emotions are both compressed and enhanced of pleasure and bliss, right inside that eternal gap between the purple slipper of the boy's foot on the left and the infinite white universe underneath us.
This book, like most of Kawauchi's work, is incredibly beautiful. And everything within those pages, it's synchronized to that slice of unseen reality we are brought into. Its mixed formats and techniques are harmoniously designed and presented to us to enjoy every single aspect of it. I personally love this approach to stories that are based on sensibility and open imagination rather than a more structured narrative. Also, the title, the cover and the use of the main colors really show how much attention the artist gives to the overall organicity of her work. On the opposite side, I would have much more appreciated this book on a bigger size rather than on this small 9x6 version. However, I do recognize the reasons behind it. In one of her interview, the artist explained that the small size of her earlier books represented the small world she was living in at that time. In fact, her more recent work has been printed way bigger than this. In addition to that, I found unnecessary for this book the section of it dedicated to the water. This is what I'm talking about. I felt it was a bit out of place and not necessary for the message. Rinko Kawauchi is a great artist and I really suggest you go check out her work. The way she deals with the small mysteries of life is as unique as beautiful. You will never forget it. Once you go through the pages of her books, you will never forget it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode with me. And it is needless to say how much I would appreciate if you could spare a few seconds to like and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Bye for now and I'll see you at the next random pick.